Microsoft Visio and Computer Associate Everything.
Okay.
Okay, but we are going with the Microsoft Business Intelligence, so most of the people are going to use Microsoft Visio. Even, I don't know whether you guys have the Visio is there in your computers?
I don't have it. Probably, I think looks like you have a free download on the Microsoft.
Yes, yes, okay. Depending on the version of Office you have, you can download the Visio from Microsoft. Even you don't have that, there are multiple tools available online to draw the entity ER diagrams. Those will actually work like Visio only.
Okay.
Okay. Now let us work on how to draw the diagram using the, how to draw the ER diagram. Let us know some diagram. If you want to draw any diagram, the first thing we should know about is that how to represent the symbols, how to represent the components. What are the components we have in the data modeling? One is entity, other one is attribute,
Thomas?
yes.
I sent you the database model for Best Buy. Were you able to open it? I sent it through Google Docs.
Yeah. I got that. I got the US document and Sucheta's document. Okay.
Oh, okay. I just wanted.
Yeah. Okay, because I want to complete this one. Once you complete the document and once you can draw the ER diagram, then that is a better way of representation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then now.
Okay. But
I just want to make sure that one you guys understood how to design the data model.
Okay. But you didn't have any problems opening it, right? Because sometimes when I share it, not many people can open it. So I just wanted to check with that.
No, I can open it because it is asking me to we have to open the Google Doc. You gave me the permission, no? I can open it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I don't have any permissions to make the changes. I have only view permissions. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, entity, attribute, and we have relationships. Okay, then these are the things we should represent. Okay, now let us go one by one. Now, how to represent the entity? Entity can be represented with a rectangle box. Entity can be represented with a rectangle box, and attributes can be represented with a oval. Okay, attribute can be represented with the oval symbol. Okay, and let us directly do with the Visio. Okay, let me explain you about the symbols, then we can go ahead. Then you know that how to represent the one-to-one, one-to-many, and everything. Let us go open the Visio. Okay, we have an entity here. Just you need to bring the entity into the middle. What is the first entity? For the yesterday's document, what is our first entity?
The customer, right? The customer entity?
Yes. Okay, then we can draw it. In the Visio, Visio 2033 is a little bit easier than the previous versions. Okay, just you have the symbol, then drag it to the middle. Entity is here, rectangle box for the entity. And the attributes we can write inside the entity. Then write the entity name, customer, and the primary key attribute. What is the primary key attribute in the customer? The customer ID. Okay, is a primary key, and the other attributes are customer name, age, and if you want to add more attributes, just there are attributes, keep adding those attributes. Okay, like. Then what is the next attribute is the next entity is address. Then address ID, okay, and street number, city, state, zip. You can add the attributes. Okay. You can add the attributes like this. Now, what is the next then? What is the relationship here in our data model? Okay, we are having the customer ID as a foreign key or address ID as a foreign key in the customer entity. Then we need to add the address ID here. Let us add the address ID here. Okay, then and you want to represent it as a foreign key, just select, right click, make it as a foreign key. Okay, then what is the relationship between the customer and address? Okay, whenever you are adding the address ID as a foreign key here, then what could be the possible relation between the customer and address? Let us see.
Samar, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We write that primary key and then that foreign key, those relationship, right? Those attributes.
Yes.
The attribute has to be the same. What I mean to say is, like, if you write as ADD-ID.
No.
Yeah.
That name, if the name is not matching, not a problem.
Okay. That's what. Okay.
If the name is not matching, that's not a problem. Yesterday we created like manager, no? Like if
Okay.
the name is not matching, that's not a problem. Okay? But the data type, yes. While creating the tables in the system, I'll let you know what exactly the reference should match.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Now, if I'm adding the customer ID here, okay, for example, let me take our yesterday's tables. Okay, 1 second, please. Okay, in the yesterday's tables, let us go to the customer table.
Yeah.
Okay, here we have the customer table where we are adding the address ID as a foreign key. Okay, now what is the possible relation between the customer and address here? Now tell me, what is the possible relationship between the customer and address? Now here customer is the customer ID is where? Okay, then does one customer can have multiple addresses or one address is having multiple customer? What is the possible relation between the customer and address? Is the one to customer to address? Is it one to many or many to one? Is one customer is having many addresses or one address is having many customers?
It's many to one.
Customer to address.
One to many.
Oh, customer to address is one to many.
Customer to address is what? What customer? Many addresses. How can we have the many addresses? Customer number is 1. Okay, he's having the address number 1. Can we repeat the one more customer here? Can we enter one customer number 1 again here?
No, you can't because it's a primary key.
That's it. Means what? The relationship when we are adding the address ID as a foreign key in the customer, then the possible relationship is one address can apply for multiple customer. The relationship between the customer to address is what? Many to one.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Okay?
correct.
The relationship between the customer is many to one. If you want one customer, many addresses, what you can do is that you can add the customer number as a foreign key in address, depending upon your thing, your business, whatever you want to do. Okay. Then, if you want to add many to many relationship between the customer and address, how we can do? Okay, assume that this is a customer entity and this is the address entity. Okay, how can we have the many to many relation between these two? How can we have the many to many relation between these two?
By, I think, can have a composite.
Okay. Now, what is the current possible relationship here? if this is a customer and this is the address, and what is the possible relationship according to our current model?
Many to one.
One to one.
Many customers,
Can have one
address.
address.
So can have one.
Yes, then that's what you need to remember. Whenever there is a foreign key is added, there the multiplicity exists. Okay? Then let me add this. Okay, this is many to one. Many customers. Okay, one address. Can you guys able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
this is what. Then, but I want one customer, many addresses. How can I make it?
What? Can you come again, Ram?
I want to make the relationship one customer can have the many addresses. How can I make it? According to our data model, we added the address ID as a foreign key in a customer, that is making many customers one address. But for my business, I want to add one customer, many addresses. How can I make it?
You can add customer ID into address table.
Yes, but in the same, we cannot do both the things together. Either we can add the address ID in the customer, or we can add the customer ID in the address. We cannot add both together. Okay? That we cannot do. Now what is that? Because there is a relationship either way. We cannot add both the things because relationship is established only one time. Now, but in the situation, I want to have one customer can have many addresses at the same time. One address can have the many customer. I want to establish the many-to-many relationship between the customer and address. How can I do that?
No, we have to have like a different primary key and make these two as a foreign key.
Means what? Can we do in this customer entity that relationship? Can we make it in a customer entity? Then we cannot make the many-to-many relationship between the two entities. Then what we need to do is that we need to create one more entity.
Yeah.
Okay? We need to create one more entity where we can use the customer ID as a foreign key. Okay? And the address ID as a foreign key. Address ID as a foreign key. Okay, we can have the customer ID as a foreign key and then also address ID as a foreign key. Now, but then we can have the customer ID 1. We can repeat the customer ID here because it is a foreign key. Okay, we can also repeat the address ID here. Okay, then we can have the another address and another address. Then one customer can have the multiple addresses. See, customer number 1 is having the address 2 and customer number 1 is also having the address 3. And one address is for the many customer. For example, second address is given to the customer number 2 and also second address is given to the customer number 1. Means what? One address, many customers, one customer, many addresses. Okay, then what it means what? We need to have one third entity where we can relate. If you want many-to-many relationship, we can use the one more entity here. Then we need to relate with customer with the customer address and address with the customer address. Then what is the relation between the customer and customer address? You need to remember wherever is the foreign key, there the multiplicity goes. Means what? The one-to-many relationship. The relationship between the customer and this table name is customer address. Okay? Now the relationship between the customer and customer address is what? One-to-many relationship. Okay? Okay. Now this is called one-to-many relationship between the customer and customer address. Then ultimately, what is the relationship between the customer and address? One-to-many and many-to-one. What is the ultimate relationship between the customer and address?
Many-to-many.
Many-to-many, that's good. Okay, many customers means what? One customer, many addresses, one address, many customers. Ultimately, many customers will have many addresses. If you want to make the many-to-many possibility, yes, you need to create the one more entity to establish the relation between the customer and address. Okay, this is the relationship. Now we need to discuss about one thing. Now, customer is related to the address. Let us go back with the basic relationship. Customer is relating to the address. Either it could be one-to-one or one-to-many. Let us have that relationship as one-to-one. Okay. Now, the relationship is one-to-one right now. Now, you can call it as one-to-one relationship. It is a one-to-one relationship. You can simply call it as one-to-one. Now means what? One customer is having the one address. Okay, next. But it is only one-to-one relationship. But do you mean to say that every customer need to have the address? If there are 10 customers in the customer table, okay, are we telling that 10 customers should have the address? Every customer should have the address? Are we telling anything here? There is a one-to-one relationship between the customer and address is there. But does it indicate every customer should have the address? Hello? Hello?
They might need not have also.
Okay,
Need not
because
have an
we are not, yeah, we are not telling every customer must have the address or every customer must not have the address. We are not telling anything. That means that, okay, either customer can enter the address or customer can skip the address also. Possibilities there or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then how we can make it? If you want every customer must enter the address, no customers should skip the address. Okay, then we need to go with the relationship with the cardinality of the relationship. What is the cardinality of the relationship? Okay, cardinality of the relationship. What is the cardinality of the relationship? It means what? The mandatory and optional relationship. I want to make this relationship wise, every customer must have the address and at the same time, every address must have the customer. Okay, every customer must have the address and at the same time, every address must have the customer. Okay, then what I can do? If I want to make it every customer, then I need to represent the relation between the customer address as mandatory one-to-one. I need to represent it as what? Mandatory one-to-one. Then how we can represent the mandatory? Means every customer must have the address. Means what? How many customers are having the address? Means what? At least one address. Every one customer should have the one address. Means what? The relationship starts with what? One. Okay, here there is, I'm getting difficulty of representing that symbol. Okay, let me open. There is one free online diagramming tool is available, Kaku. Okay, you can utilize to draw the diagrams.
Kaku, what's the spelling?
Yes, C-A-C-O-O. Okay.
Oh,
yes, then you can utilize your Gmail address. Okay. Here you can create it. You can create a lot of diagrams with this Kaku. Okay. Then here we are going to create the entity relationship diagram. Okay. Okay. Then from these diagrams you can select the tools for, you can display a lot of diagrams, then select the, go to the software, in the software you can see here diagrams. Then you can see all the symbols. Now like different kind of a rectangle box for the entities. Let us take one entity like employee and let us take another entity, we'll make it as a address. Only to represent the symbols I'm using this one, still we can draw the diagram with the visual also. To represent the symbols, I'm just using this address, address ID, street number, city, state. Okay, and here employee. I'm using the employee in case of address. Now here I can use, if I want to use the relationship just one-to-one, okay, I can use the just a straight line one-to-one. Okay, I want to make this relationship mandatory one-to-one. Means what? Every employee should have the address and also every address should have the employee. Okay, then I can add the foreign key either in the employee or in the address. I can add the foreign key here. Address ID as a foreign key. Okay, then if I want to make this relationship mandatory one-to-one, means what? Every employee should have the address, every address should have. Then what I need to do? I need to represent that mandatory relationship with just the starting symbol should be mandatory one to mandatory one. Okay, this is the way you can represent the mandatory one-to-one relationship. Can you guys able to see it?
Mm-hmm.
This line with the both the sides, mandatory one-to-one. Let me make it bigger. Color thickness. Okay, we can represent the mandatory one-to-one like this. Okay, then if I want, either employee can have the address or address can have the employee. Means what? Either employee can have the address or address can have. Means what? Either employee can enter the address or skip the address. Or address will have the employee, will not have the employee. In this situation, in this mandatory one-to-one, if there are 20 employees, how many addresses will be there?
20.
20, should be 20 only. But in our situation, are we maintaining the addresses of only employees in the address table? We are also maintaining the addresses of the branches and also we are maintaining the addresses of the staff also. Then in that case, we cannot make it mandatory. Then what we can do is that we can make every employee should have the address, but every address might have the employee, might not have the employee. Then what we can do? We need to make in the address side optional. These optional 00. Optional can be represented with a 0. Means what? Every employee and address might have the employee or address might not have the employee. If I want to represent both the side optional, okay, then I can represent both the side optionals. Optional means 0. You can represent with the 0 means what? The relationship starts with 0 relations. Mandatory means 1. 1 means what? The relationship starts with at least one relationship. Okay, like that we can represent. This is called optional one-to-one. Okay, and you cannot call the previous relationship is one-to-one mandatory. Okay, one-to-one mandatory. Now, if I want to have employee can have the address or employee can have the multiple address. One employee can have one single address. At the same time, one employee can have the multiple addresses. Then how can we represent? Mandatory one, optional many. Or you can simply call it as one or many. Employee can have one address or many addresses. Then we can represent or many means what? The many is optional. I can represent one or many like this. Okay, one or many. Okay, if I want to represent one and many, every employee should have multiple addresses. Then both the side mandatory, one and many. Okay, are you guys following me?
Yeah.
Okay, means what? Either one-to-one, if you are just saying one-to-one means that you are not telling whether the employee should enter the address or not. Then if you are telling that one optionally can enter the address or mandatory can enter the address, then that is strictly you are creating the table that employee should not leave the address. Like our fourth normal form, what is fifth normal form, the null valued attributes means what? Address should not be null. If you are making it as a mandatory both the sides, address should not be null. Okay, and if you are making it as optional, it is a null acceptable attributes means what? Address can have the employee or customer, address cannot have the customer. And if it is mandatory one-to-many in this situation, right now current situation is what? Mandatory one and many means what? Every employee must have many addresses. What does this indicate? Every employee must have many addresses. Means what? Every employee must have two addresses. Okay, mandatory. They cannot skip the second address. The two addresses will become the mandatory. These are the cardinality of the relationship. To represent the cardinality of the relationship. In the Visio, you can make this relationship very simple. Then I want to make the relation between these two. Let us go back to Visio. In the Visio, there is a direct button is available. That is the reason I am explaining you here. Okay. Okay. If I want to make the relationship, okay, if I want to establish the relationship between these two, simply select the relationship, start from one entity, make sure the entity is properly selected, and end it in the other entity. Okay. Now, if I want to make the relationship cardinality, then just select the relationship, right click, go to the beginning symbol is what? I want to one or more, and the ending symbol is, okay, one or more. Then we can wait, oh sorry, one and more it went. Wait a minute, the line went inside the, that's why I hate it. Okay, little bit careful starting the relationship and ending the relationship. Okay. Now I want to make this relationship. Beginning symbol is 0 or more. Ending symbol 1 or more or 0 or more. Then if you are selecting directly the relationship applies. Optionally many to many. Okay. But I don't want optionally many to many. The beginning symbol is 1 or more or 0 or 1. Okay. The mandatory one to optional many. This relationship is what? Mandatory one means what? Every customer mandatorily need to have one address. Optionally, he can have many addresses. Okay. If you are getting confused with this relationship, okay, then you can make your own relationship. Just right clicking, go to the format shape, go to the line, okay, then the beginning symbol, beginning arrow type, you can select mandatory 1 and end arrow type optional many. Okay, mandatory 1 to optional many. Just increase the width to better visibility. Now you can see this is mandatory 1 to optional many. Okay, mandatory 1 to optional many. Or else you can directly right click and check it. If you are right click and checking, you are not understanding what exactly you want to do. But yes, mandatory 1 to optional many. Then in that case, I want to add the third entity. I don't want a customer address relationship here. I want to create one more entity called customer underscore address. Okay, there is no primary key. Then customer ID as a foreign key, address ID as a foreign key. Just represent customer ID as a foreign key, set as foreign key, and address ID as a foreign key, set as foreign key. Now you can represent as a foreign key. Now what is the relation between the customer and the customer address? It is mandatory 1, optional many. Okay, mandatory 1, optional many, just make it that relationship. Begin arrow type is mandatory 1, end arrow type is optional many. Okay, at the same time, take one more relationship. Okay, then you can make the relationship as begin arrow type is mandatory 1. Oh, sorry, optional many. And end arrow type is mandatory 1. Okay, then what is the relationship here? 1 to many, many to 1. Ultimately, the relation between the customer and address is what? Many to many relationship. Here, we representing means on mandatory 1, every customer must have at least one address, optionally many addresses. Here, every address must have one customer, optionally many customers. That is the meaning of this mandatory 1, optional many, or mandatory 1 to 1 means what? Every customer must have one address must have the one customer. Okay, that's how you can represent the cardinality. That cardinality represents which attribute should have the values, which foreign key attribute should have the values, which foreign key attributes can have the null values. Okay? I guess clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, here one more thing is there. Okay? One more thing is what is that? Is that customer ID. Then here, even though we are having the mandatory 1, optional many, we can represent this customer ID and everything. We can fill up still the people can fill up the table like this. What is that? Okay, here you can see customer ID and foreign key. But can anyone skip the address ID here? Possibilities there are not.
I think
Yes.
Anyone skip the customer ID here?
Yes.
Means what? someone can relate to customer without the address, someone can relate the address without the customer also. That means what? The relation between the customer and customer address is not identified. Okay?
Yeah.
Not identified. Then how can I make it identified? Means what? I don't want anybody to miss the customer without address and address without customer. How can I make it?
Mandatory.
I don't want anybody to miss the customer and address. If they are entering customer, there should be address. If they are entering address, there should be customer.
Mandatory?
Yes. Not mandatory is there. Mandatory is coming from customer side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here it is optional. Okay, in this diagram, if you can observe in this video,
Many to many mandatory.
here the customer side is mandatory, here is optional.
Yes.
Okay, optional is for many relationship. That is there,
Yeah.
one-to-many relationship is there. But I am not telling every customer, whatever the customer is there, their customer should be here. That is what I am not telling. But whoever is the customer is here, they should have the address. That is what my point. Okay? Every customer is having mandatory one address. That is there. That job is done. Now I am talking about this particular relationship means what? Every customer what we are representing from the customer entity should have the address. Okay, I'll tell you a simple example. Like what is the difference between Walmart and Costco? Before making the order in the Walmart and Costco.
It's a
Like for
membership.
example, this is the order entity in the Walmart. Okay, the customer is making the order. Okay, the customer is making the order and buying some products in the Walmart. Okay. Then, is it mandatory that one customer information should be represented in the Walmart?
Not necessary.
It's not,
Means
it's not
what?
buying.
Yes, customer can directly buy something, make an order and buy some product without giving his information. Is that true or not?
Yes.
Yeah, some customers, whoever is having a Walmart some rewards card, something, they can provide their address to get some rewards. But it's not mandatory that every customer should provide the address. Okay?
Okay.
He can also make the order and also,
Not provide the address.
yes. Okay, that you can do. But what about Costco? If the same order table, if you are implementing in the Costco, can any customer make the order without even giving the customer ID?
No.
No, you can't.
Yeah, that is it. Means what the relation between the customer and order in the Walmart is not identified. That is the reason the order information will not have the customer's information. The customer will not have the order information. I mean, customer can make the order without giving his information. Now, but the relation between the customer and order in the Costco is what? Identified. Okay? The order cannot be fulfilled without the customer information.
Okay.
You guys followed?
Yes.
Yes.
That is called identified relationship. Then here, now tell me according to our diagram, is it an identified relationship or non-identified relationship? Are you guys able to see the video?
Yeah. I think it's a non-identified relationship.
Yes. If it is a non-identified relationship, the non-identified relationship can be represented like this. Okay? With the dotted line. Okay? Then, if I want to make this relationship as identified, how can I make it? Like in Costco, how can we make the identified relationship?
They're not nulls?
Yes, customers should not skip.
You have a not null column.
It's primary key, that is, yeah.
How can I make it? Yes, someone is saying about primary key.
Make customer ID as primary key.
Now only customer ID. Customer ID is a primary key already in the customer entity. No, here it is a foreign key.
It's one-to-one mandatory.
No, one-to-one. That relationship is already done. One-to-many means what? One customer can make the many orders. That is
Okay,
there. But
you're
I want to
talking
make
about
it.
identifiable.
Yes. I
yeah.
want to make the order and customer relationship identifiable. Means what? Customer should have the should give his information to make the order. How can I make it?
A
Customer
combination of customer ID and address ID should be a key.
Okay, that's good. We need to make the combination of these two attributes as what?
Yeah, primary key.
Primary key. Means what?
Yeah.
Compound primary key.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to make. Then customer cannot skip his details. Okay? Then customer cannot skip before making the order. Here the customer number is repeating here. But here it can repeat. When it is a compound primary key, the combination should not be repeated. Individual value can be repeated, but combination should not be repeated. Okay? Then whenever we are using the compound primary key, the relation between the compound primary key entity and other entities are what? Identified relationship. Now what is the relation between this customer and the customer order is what? Identified. Okay? But is it mandatory that from everywhere we need to make the identified? Yes, depending on the business. Okay, like Walmart, customer and order relationship is not identified. Still they are doing the business. And in the Costco, the relation between the customer and the order is what? Identified relationship.
Depending upon the requirement, business requirement.
Exactly. Okay. Then here, if I want to make it identified relationship here, how can I make it identified relationship here? Then I need to make the compound primary key. Now I need to make the combination of customer and address as a primary key. Make it as a customer as a primary key. It is a foreign key actually and also acting as a primary key. Then I can convert this relation between the customer and customer address as a identified relationship. Then make it as set identified. And you need to remember as a thumb rule, wherever there is an identified relationship, there should be compound primary key. And if there is no compound primary key, the relationship is what? Non-identified. That should be represented with the dotted lines.
Can we have two primary keys in one table then?
No.
I mean, is it? Yeah.
No,
right?
One table should have one primary key only. If you are seeing the two primary key symbols means what? That is a combination of both attributes as a primary key.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Mandatorily that every table should have only one primary key.
Yeah.
But if you can see the multiple columns are acting as a primary key means what? The combination of both the columns as a primary key. Okay? That is called compound primary key. Here, whenever you are having the compound primary key, the relation between the compound primary key entity with the other entity is identified relationship. Now you guys understood what is the point of identifying and non-identifying relationship, no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. In the diagram, you can simply mention. In the normal data model, it is very tough to say where you can have the null values, where you cannot have the null values, which relationship is mandatory, which relationship is optional. Now here you can perfectly say which relationship is optional, which relationship is mandatory, whether it is mandatory one or optional many or mandatory many. Okay, you can represent like this. Then application developer will develop the application based on this model, and even the database tables can be created based on this model. Okay, whenever there is optional, they can have the nullable values. Wherever there is a mandatory, where they can create the not nullable columns. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is the way you can create the ER diagrams. Just nothing. There is nothing. Only logic you already created in the data model. Just to bring the entity and make the relationship. Okay. Bring the entity. What is the next entity? We have the branch. Okay. And what is the other entity? Let me make it this thing simple.
Staff.
Staff.
Okay, let me make it size of this one bigger. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we can make it one more branch, and other entity is what? We
Staff. Staff.
Yes, we have staff. Next.
Transaction.
Transaction. I'm not writing any attribute names. I'm just making the relationship. Transaction and the other?
Account.
Yes, account. Next.
We actually have department.
Yes. Yeah, let us have the department later, but we can have the enrollment here.
Yeah. Enrollment.
And also the account transaction.
You want to have account transaction. Okay. Or branch
transaction or account transaction, something like that.
Yeah, branch transaction.
Yeah, branch transaction. Okay. Now. Okay. Now here. Okay, we can relate the staff with address or not, according to our yesterday's diagram. Yesterday's diagram is staff ID. In the staff E and I is related to the address, and also branch is related to the address.
Yes.
Okay. Then next, who is doing the transaction?
The staff.
Account is doing the transaction. Okay. Enrollment. Enrollment means
enrollment.
What? Yes. Branch is having the branch is related to the enrollment.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just drawing roughly. Okay. Then who is enrolling? Customer is enrolling.
Customer. So customer also has got the relation.
Yes.
And also the account.
Okay, whenever the customer is enrolling,
it should have a relation with the account also.
Yes. Whenever the customer is enrolling, he is getting the account. Okay, next. Who is doing the transaction?
The staff.
Account.
Staff is doing the transaction.
Account is doing the transaction.
Account is doing the transaction. Then
it's the branch. Yeah. Branch transaction. Yes.
okay, and who is branch? I'm just creating a zigzag, don't worry about it. Just if the take the page size bigger, then you can manage it perfectly. Okay? This is the way you can create it. Okay? Like that you can maintain the mandatory and optional relationships. Okay?
Amar?
Yes.
You'll be sending this document, right?
Yeah,
By
I'll send you
email?
this.
Okay.
Okay? No, but don't blindly follow it because I didn't do this mandatory and optional relationships.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, just you need to make the mandatory and optional relationship. 1 second, guys, please. I'm just pausing the meeting for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, databaseanswers.org. Just go to this website. There you can see the thousands of ER diagrams. Okay, not one or two, thousands of ER diagrams. Then you can see, let us take one simple ER diagram, customers and products, our simple ER diagram. Then later we can go to the other ER diagram. Let us say this is a customer and product. Okay, now you can understand here, customer entity is making the orders. Okay, they are including the order items. Okay, order items are nothing but they are including the products into the order items, and those products are different kind of products are available, and the customer is making the payment, and the customer is having the address information. Now it is similar to our own thing, like our own customer and address relationship. Now you can see, maybe he used a different tool to draw the ER diagram. Okay, now customer entity, what is the primary key? Customer ID. Then customer is making the orders. Then what is the relation between the customer and customer orders? Mandatory one, optional. Mandatory one, optional many. You can call it as mandatory one, optional many, or one or many. The relation between the customer means, or see, here you can see mandatory one. Here you can see the 0, optional. Okay, the relation between the customer and customer order is what? One or many. Okay, now one customer mandatory has to make one order, optionally he can make the many orders. The relation between the customer and orders is what? Is non-identified relationship.
Non-identified.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then once the customer is making the order, he is including the order items. Order items means what? Products. He is including the products into the order. Then every order means what? Every order should have at least one order item. See? Mandatory one, optional many.
Optional many.
Yeah, means what? Every order should have at least one item. Optionally, it can have many items. Okay? Then, order item should come from where? The product table. Means what? Every product should at least one order item. Optionally, one product can include in the multiple order items. Okay? Now the customer is making the order. Then once customer is opening the order, there is one more order items. Means what? The order item ID is the primary key. Then order ID and product ID is the foreign keys. Okay? Then they are entering the order quantity and other details like price and everything. Okay? Now, then the order status code. Once the customer is making the order, okay, then once the order is completed, you are maintaining the order status code in a different table. Okay. Now here customer and addresses are there. Now the customer, what is the relation between the customer and address here? What is the relation between the customer and address here?
Many to many.
Exactly, many to many. One customer, mandatory one to optional many.
No.
and optional many to mandatory one. One to many and many to one. Ultimately, many to many relationship. And is it an identified and non-identified relationship?
Identifiable.
Yes. See, you can see the primary. See, customer ID is a primary key. Actually, it is a foreign key and primary key. He is representing as PF. And there is one more PF. There is one more primary key. Then the combination of 3 attributes as a primary key here. Okay? See, this is the data model. This is a complete ER diagram. Means what? Customer is simple selling the product. Customer is making the order and he is including the products into the order and he is making the payment and he is maintaining the address. Okay. To make the order, is customer ID is a mandatory.
To make the order, customer ID is mandatory.
Not, I think, right? It's
No.
not
It's
mandatory.
not that. Yes, the relationship is
It's
non-identified.
not identified, so it's not mandatory.
Yeah, that's what. But every customer should make the order. But it doesn't mean that every order should have the customer information. Okay?
Okay.
See, order side it is optional. And also here it is a foreign key. Then they can skip the customer ID also. But here the customer, any customer can skip the customer ID to enter the address?
No.
Then any address can skip, any address can skip the customer ID?
No.
Then they also need to maintain the from which date to which date they are living in that address also.
Yeah.
That is also mandatory identified. Means that is the compound primary key. Wherever the compound primary key is there, the relationship is what? Identified. Let us take the similar diagram and customers and product in a different way. The customer and product, the generic one. Okay, here is not maintaining anything. Don't worry, we'll take another one. Okay, not customers and product, customers and product. Now, here you can see same customers, orders, order item, products. Now, what is the difference in this relationship? Customer is making the order. This is also non-identified. Order is including the order items. Order items are coming from the product table. The product table is maintaining the different product types. Now, the difference is that one, this order is happening in the different stores. Okay? Different store and every store is having some promotions. Okay? Every store is having some promotions and those promotions, they can maintain the currency codes. Means what exactly it indicates? What is the difference between previous system and current system?
This store has the branches?
No. This is kind of a like a order kind of ordering in the different stores. That is, the previous system is inside the store. Okay, inside one single store, and this is what you can go to any store which is providing some promotions. And not only one country, you can go to different country also. There is a currency code is also mentioned.
This is kind of an online ordering, so customer can
Exactly.
go.
Yes, if you want any product, you can choose from the multiple stores and you can order it. Like if you are searching for a product in a Google will give you the 5 stores information. You can order anything from the store, and they also maintain the which store is having some promotions.
Yeah.
Okay. The relation between the customer and address is what? One address can go to the multiple customers. Means what? Many to one. Okay. And also store's address is also maintained here. Okay. Previously, customer and address relationship is many to many. In this one is a many to one. Okay. And here you can see one self relationship. What is this? This is called parent and child relationship. Okay. Here there is a one product category is there, then there is a parent product category is there. Means what? For example, bread and milk. Okay. Then you can add into the breakfast items. Okay. Breakfast item is parent product type and bread is child product type. Okay.
Okay.
Then this indicates means what? It is not only that one entity's primary key can be referred in another entity as a foreign key, but you can even refer inside the same entity also as a foreign key. Here product type code is primary key of this table, and also referring as a foreign key within the same table. See, say a product type code is a primary key of this entity and referring it as a foreign key within the same entity. Okay? You guys clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what, by looking at this data model, you should be understanding what is happening here. Now let us open some other data model. Like let us open some new data model is there. It's a retail and generic banking, investment banking. So this is not clear. Online banking. Yeah, here you can see. This is the data model for online banking. Now, see, customer is there. Now, what is the customer is doing? Customer is doing some purchases. Okay. What is purchasing? Some products or services. Okay. From where he is purchasing? From the merchant. Then once he is purchasing, customer is maintaining at the same time maintaining the address, and customer is having the accounts. Okay. Then that account is having the balance history. And using that account, he is doing the transactions. Okay, purchase is different and transactions are different. Okay, those transactions are maintaining the transaction type. Even the purchases can go as a transactions. Okay, customer can utilize the account and directly do the transaction, or customer can do the purchase. That purchase can go for the transaction. Okay, now like our banking thing. Now you can see what is the relation between the customer and the customer purchases. Every customer mandatory has to make one purchase. Optionally, he can make many purchases. Okay, then that is non-identified relationship. And customer is not. That purchases is including the service or product. Okay, that is also non-identified. One product or one service mandatory should include in the customer purchases, or optionally many. And at the same time, those products and services are provided by the merchants. And those customer purchases can be included as a transaction, that is mandatory one, but the transaction side, that is optional. But customer can utilize his account. Okay, it might be online account, or okay, then he can make the transaction. But what is identified here? If the customer is maintaining the account should have the balance. See? Yeah. What is the relation between accounts and balance history? It is identified mandatory one, optional many. Okay? The customer should properly maintain the balance. Okay? That is the relationship is identified, and remaining are non-identified relationship. And here, what is the relation between the customer and address? It is many to many relationship.
Many to many. Yeah.
But this is non-identified many to many. See, non-identified customer address. See, before that, when you have a compound primary key, here you don't have a compound primary key. Here you can see the compound primary key. Okay. Same thing. The customer is making the purchases of the product from the merchant, and that is going as a transaction. And also customer can utilize his account and can do the direct transactions like withdrawal and deposits. And while he is maintaining those transactions, that account history need to be maintained, balance history need to be maintained, that is identified. Means what? When once account ID, you should enter and the balance date, on which date you are doing the transaction, and the date of that balance should be entered mandatorily. Okay, means that is the reason this is the identified relationship. Okay, customer might do the purchase, might not do the purchase. Customer might use the account to do the transaction, might not do that one. Right. But customer has to maintain the balance history. That is identified here.
Yeah, if he has, yeah.
Yes. Now, like that, what I want is that I want you guys to go through the multiple data models and try to understand all the data models. Okay. Then, whenever, if you want to emerge yourself as a database developers, what you need to do is that, yes, we are going to work as working as a SQL queries and everything. But the important thing is that you know how to write the SQL queries, you know how to write the ETL, you know how to develop the reports. But what data you need to pick up, from where you need to pick up. For example, Here, in this one, I want to know about the New York customers balance total. The question is that I want the report of the customers from New York. I want to know about the total of what the balance they are maintaining, and so on, so date. How can I get it? I want to know about the balance total of New York customers. Where is the balance?
You have to call for balance history and the account's ID also.
Yeah, no. Then where is the city New York? Where can we get the city of customer? Here. Okay. How can I get the balance history total for this particular New York City? Okay. The New York City is here.
And the
balance history is here. How can I get the balance total for the New York City? That's what the query. You know how to write the query, you know how to develop the report. But the information is here. Then how can I do that? Then first of all, I need to join the custom address with the customer address.
Yes.
Customer address needs to be there. That customer should have the account. That account should maintain the balance.
Yes.
Then I need to join 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables.
Oh, okay.
I can get that information by joining writing the query by joining the 5 tables.
Okay.
That is the specialty of these data models. Means what? Once you can understand it, then only you can write.
Okay.
Okay. Then even though you know how to write, develop and everything, but if you are not able to understand the data model, there is no use. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let us go with the similar question in the different way. Some entertainment is there. Lot of entertainment models are there. Insurance. Okay, there is one insurance is there. Okay, not to worry, is draw the every line as a straight line. No, compound primary key is there. Okay, now insurance. Somebody is applying for the insurance applications. There are questions in the applications are there. Then those questions are coming from here, and the reference questions are there. Then customer is giving the answers to those questions. Then customer information is maintaining. Now what is that? Application. If the customer is writing the answer, he should write the answer for the questions in the applications only. Those questions should come from these applications only. And those questions should come from the question bank, questions list only. Means what? All are identified relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here, what I want to know about, now tell me which customer scored the highest marks in the multiple choice questions.
Can you repeat
Which
that
customer
question?
scored highest marks? Like there is a marks or score, okay? Whatever we are maintaining. Score, yeah, we are maintaining the score.
Okay.
Which customer scored the highest in multiple choice questions? Question types are here. Type questions, multiple choice questions are here. Okay, free text questions, multiple questions, table questions. Which customer stores? The customer name is here. Scored the highest score. How can I get it?
You have to join customer. Questions in application, questions and
no, how can the customer can join the questions in application directly?
No, he can't. He has to go through customer
Customer need to join with the
answers and then
through the answers to the questions in application, then questions,
then to the multiple choice.
Type. There you can write the condition where the question type is multiple choice and the total count of score is highest, maximum score, then pull out the customer name.
Okay, got it.
Okay, that's how you need to get the solution. Means what? That is the specialty of this data model. Those tables are there in the system. You can write the queries, but you need to understand the relation between all these tables.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's what I want. I want you guys to first Okay, use any tool to draw the ER diagram, and at the same time, I want you guys to go through the as many you can go. Go through the as many data models and try to understand what is happening here. Let us take this one. Suppliers are supplying the items. Okay, those items inventory is maintained and item stock level is maintaining and their brand information is maintaining. Supplier addresses are also maintaining. This is something like supply chain management, suppliers information. Okay, product suppliers information or stock information. Okay, like that I want you guys to go through as many data models you can go through. Just go through the latest data models. Don't go for the previous level data models because they might be drawing using the tools where not all the information is maintained like this. You cannot understand matching it from here. Okay, go through the data models where you can have the perfect relationship like this. Okay.
Okay.
Try to understand what is happening in every system. Okay. What is the, then you will get the idea what is the, why these guys are doing the identified relationship and non-identified relationships.
Okay.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
do as many, then we can start on the tool. Did you guys download and install the SQL Server?
Yeah, I did download, but I think I sent an email. But when I go to the start button, I don't see anything. It says it's successfully downloaded, but when I get, even in the control panel, I don't see the SQL Server.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay. What I can do is that one, I can log into your system and see whether I installed or not. Okay.
Okay.
What we can do is that one, tomorrow we can have the installation session. Okay. I can log into your system and see whether they installed or not. Okay. Day after tomorrow we can start working on the SQL Server.
Okay.
Okay.
Samar, this SQL Server, like when you're giving the authentication, should I go for the window authentication or?
Yeah, good question. Initially go for Windows authentication. That will make you to just enter it immediately.
Okay.
Then later I'll explain you how to make it mixed mode. Windows and SQL authentication mode. We can make it after installation also.
Actually, when I installed it. I think if I'm not wrong, I installed in both the modes.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Even you are installing in the Windows mode also, we can make it to mixed mode. Even if you install mixed mode also, we can make it as a Windows mode. What is the specialty of installing those things? I'll explain you.
Yeah, that part I have no idea, but this little thing I know. Okay, thank you.
Sucheta?
Yeah.
What did you install like in Google? I gave SQL Server 2012 evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a evaluation version only. That's only for 6 months. So
okay. You download?
Yeah, I downloaded, but when you are actually installing it, it keeps on asking you a few questions. There you have to be careful with that.
Oh, you didn't ask me anything.
No, it will ask.
Oh, because you have to select the files, right? Mine was 64-bit, so I selected those 3 files: language, core, and that's what, right?
No, it should be there. You are Rashmi or Preeti?
I'm Rashmi.
Okay, Rashmi. I think it should be there. Probably you check in the programs. It should be like Microsoft SQL Server 2012, and there you can go there. Probably you probably go again and then like run the program.
Yeah, I did it twice.
Then it should be there. Somewhere it should be there. Probably you are not able to locate it where it is. You just search, do the search. You'll know where it is.
Okay. So when I just give us Microsoft SQL Server 2012 evaluation, right?
Yeah. That's what it gives you, all the system requirements and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, let me try.
Actually, Rashmi, those 3 files download, even it didn't work for me. I downloaded ISO version and I'm trying to install with that now.
It's not ISO version, I think.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I should not
download
the
those 3
ISO
files and do the installation. It didn't work for me. So then I downloaded that .iso.
Yeah, even I have
that
done.
means,
So.
yeah, one second guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me. You guys downloaded that file. Which file you downloaded?
Yeah, this is actually you have to
Like
download.
has 4 different files, right? Language, core,
Yes.
install, ISO.
Okay. This ISO means that is a full version. Like I told you that you need to download and burn it into DVD and you can install. Okay. Then if you are downloading this language is not that. I told you to download this install.exe. This install.exe is online installation. You need to connect the online. It will simply download the file by file online one by one.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the same thing, Summer, but when I was doing that, it was telling me that some files are missing or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Yeah, that's what I told you, no?
Core and language also. But
Yeah, same thing for me did. Yeah.
Summer,
Yeah,
I had this problem, but you know what? I went with that ISO version, which actually you have to write it on the DVD, and it worked fine.
Yes, yes, this will work for fine. I told you clearly, no? There should be continuous internet connection when you are using this one or this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's always
continuous.
Yeah, but
yeah,
somehow there is a chance of missing 1 or 2 files also, because it is installing. It will download one file and install. It will download the next file and install. Like, then you don't need to download and install. Both the things happen simultaneously. Yes, there is a possibility you will get some files might be skipped. Then if you are downloading this one, you will have everything into your system, not this one. Sorry.
Only that ISO. Install.exe.
Yeah, you need a DVD for that.
Yes. Download this ISO and you need to burn the DVD.
Yeah.
If you don't want ISO, if you don't want DVD, then I can just click on install.exe. Yeah?
No,
if you don't want to burn it, you can use this install.exe, but this will download the one after one file from the online. You need to be continuously connected online.
Probably even like for a moment, if you don't have a connection, you'll end up having
if
this
the
problems.
connection drops for a second or something, you will lose some files.
Oh, okay, okay. Otherwise, just do the .iso burn it into a DVD.
Yes.
Just ISO. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Just download it and burn it into DVD, and you can install it, and it will have every information. You are not going to miss anything.
Okay.
Okay. If you are still finding some difficulties, let me know.
Okay, sure.
Okay.